Now, the Attorney General, Bill Barr, will face another round of intense questioning when he appears before the Senate Appropriations Committee. This comes as we're learning that Barr has put together a team to investigate how the FBI Russia probe and the FISA warrants that were requested as part of it came about. Congresswoman Grace Meng is a Democrat from New York, a member of the House Appropriations Committee. Of course, she questioned Barr yesterday. She's also vice chair of the DNC. She joins me now. Good morning.
Good morning. Thanks for having me on.
Of course. Let me just get you on that breaking news that we've learned that Bill Barr has assembled a team to investigate basically the investigation, to look into these FISA warrants issued as the feds were investigating Russian interference in the 2016 election. Are you glad that he's doing that?
Well, he did allude to this very generally yesterday. He said him and his team were still reviewing this within the agency. However, this does nothing in terms of us in Congress still needing to see the full content of the Mueller report. And I know we talked about this a lot on our subcommittee yesterday, but that is still the case. The American people still deserve to see it. Congress, in a very bipartisan way, voted to express the will of the American people that we want to see the report.
So it doesn't sound like you oppose him, though, assembling a team to just look into whether there were any political motivations behind these FISA warrants, et cetera. Is that a fair read of your stance?
Honestly, I don't know his intentions and motivations behind doing that. He is obviously the head of the agency and has a right to do that. But I sincerely hope that this is not meant to be any sort of distraction from revealing the content of the reports.
All right. So the chairwoman of the Senate Appropriations Committee, Nia Lowey, yesterday questioned him, obviously. And then this morning on CNN's New Day, she said that all members of Congress must see the fully unredacted report. She said, look, we can go to the SCIF, a secure location on Capitol Hill. We can read it there. But on Monday on this show, we had on Democratic Congressman Ro Khanna, and he told me, no, I don't need to see the report. Not every member of Congress needs to see the fully unredacted report. You know, the committee chairman of Intelligence and Judiciary, et cetera, should. What do you think? Does every member of Congress need to see the fully unredacted Mueller report?
Well, every Congress member certainly can decide for him or herself whether they want to review the report. I know for myself and many of my colleagues on both sides of the aisle, we want to see a fully unredacted version of this report. And like you said, these are this happens a lot where we go into a SCIF where there are privacy concerns, and this is something that's done very frequently with Congress members, and we deserve to see it.
You questioned him yesterday about any communication with the White House on this report before the Mueller report is released. Let's play that.
Was the president or anyone at the White House alerted in advance of your letter's release?
The March 24th letter, I don't believe so. But as I said, once the report is out, I'll be testifying, and I'll be glad to discuss all aspects of the process and also explain the decisions I've made.
Did you or anyone on your team consult with anyone in the White House in the crafting of that letter?
Are you talking about the March 24th letter?
Yes.
The answer to that is no, but as I say, I'm not going to discuss this further until after the report is out.
Do you feel like, and he will be on the Hill, by the way, after the report's out, May 1st and 2nd. Right. Did you feel like you got a fulsome answer to your question?
Well, I appreciate him being on the Hill to answer our questions. I did want to know what conversations he had in terms of the March 24th, and there was a March 29th letter as well. But also just in general, what types of conversations has the Attorney General and his team been having with the White House on this report in general? So, of course, there's more information to know. He was hesitant, understandably, to answer some of these questions, and that is yet another reason why we need to see the full report.
Okay, so let's move on to your role as vice chair of the DNC, obviously the Democratic Party. We got 18 contenders so far for 2020 in the presidential race. Let me ask you about Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. Of course, you're born-in queen as well as she was, and now you're both representing in Congress. She tweeted on March 30th encouraging small dollar donors to instead of giving money to the DCCC, to give it directly to progressive candidates, pushing back against the committee's decision to break ties with consultants and pollsters who are working with primary challengers. Do you support that idea, or does that further fracture your party?
Well, look, I think donors have a right to donate, whether they want to donate to a Democratic committee, whether they want to donate directly to candidates. And donors, if you talk to them, have different preferences all the time. I think that we are still having a lot of conversations on this issue. We want to make sure that the public knows that the DCCC, of course, has raised and has spent a lot of money, not only in flipping seats, but also helping to elect Democratic and progressive candidates, members, and progressive causes as well.
Mm-hmm. So you don't, I mean, you obviously don't like to hear a message that says don't donate to the DCCC, but you're saying people should have freedom to donate wherever they want, and they do. Final question, Bernie. Yeah. Presidential candidate Bernie Sanders, Senator Bernie Sanders, will release his Medicare For All plan today. You've been a big proponent of this. You know that even the left-leaning Urban Institute says, look, the cost is $32 trillion over a decade. How specifically would you propose paying for that?
Well, I think part of my reason for wanting to sponsor a bill like Medicare for All and to push for it is because I think we need a lot more conversation, whether on Capitol Hill or throughout the country, on how we can make sure that more people have equal access to health care.
Totally, but how would you pay for that? Because that's the price tag. I'm wondering, is this just increased taxation across the board?
No, it's not just about increased taxation. It's also about a shifting of priorities. There are a lot of issues that we might pay for in Congress that I think sometimes we need to reassess and reanalyze. But priority is health care and being able to take care of our fellow Americans. And that's why we desperately need to have that conversation.
Okay. Conversation about how you cover people, how you pay for it. We'll have you back for that. Thanks very much, Congresswoman Grace Meng. I appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
You got it.
Interesting conversation as always. We are